Hi, welcome to the first video on how to get started with C programming using the DevC++ platform. Once you launch the DevC++, this is your main integrated development environment that you will see. Now, how do we get started? Let's click on File, New, Project. When you click on this, you will see that under the basic, there are a few options available. We are going to be focusing on C programming, and we're going to be selecting the console application. Why we choosing the console application is because it will show you the very basic code that is needed without any of the additional stuff that you may encounter if you were to choose, for example, a Windows application. So we just want to focus on learning how to do some basic programming in C. So we will just choose the console application followed by C project, and since we're going to use C programming for a while, we can make it a default language. And the name, as always, we say hello world, but you can always just say test world program. Okay, and let's click on OK. Once you click on OK, it'll ask you to save as. Why? Because when we create a project, it will automatically generate a few files associated with the project. Okay, so of course when you write a C program, you expect a .c file, but since it is a project, there are other files associated with it as well. So you have to create a folder or to find a folder where you can save this. For me, I'm going to go to my, let me see, where shall I save it? My Dropbox folder. So again, this can be any folder. You don't have to follow what I'm doing here. Okay. So I have a startup folder that I've already created, and I'm going to save my project there. Okay, once you start or save your project, this is your default program that you have. Okay, so let's make it a bit bigger here, and let's look at editor options. And I'm going to increase my font size to maybe 14 so that it looks clearer for you guys there. So what do we see here? Firstly, we see that on the top there are two hashtag include sort of lines there. What is that? We'll come to it in a while. What is important is a C program, the main C program here, starts with the call to a function called main. So this is the starting point of any C program when you write. Okay, this structure that you see here, int here plus a bracket, okay, with some input parameters here. This can be a bit different depending on the development environment that you are using. So if you were to write a C program, for example, using Microsoft Visual Studio or Xcode or whatever platform, it will look a bit different. Okay, but ultimately we will see that the programming fundamentals are still the same. Okay, so to get started and to know that everything is fine, we're going to write a simple program. Okay, so you can see that the project that we have created on the left hand side is called test world, and under test world there is a main.c, which is this. So the .c program is basically the C program that will hold your code and they'll be executed. Okay, because of the DevC++ structure, we need to create a project, and then the C file must be inside that project folder. Okay, so let's go ahead to do a simple printf statement first. Okay, so printf, hi everyone, okay, \n and put in a semicolon. Okay, so the syntax and double quote, semicolon, all this stuff, we will review that again in separate lecture slides. So now I just want to focus on how we can create a program and execute it. Okay, so once you are done with your program, what do? Most important thing, always save. Okay, so click on the save button. Again, it will ask you to save. By default, it will go to the same folder that you had saved the project earlier on. Okay, so that this is my startup folder. So the file name, leave it as it is, do not change it. Okay, so we will keep it as main.c and click on save. Once we do that, we can go to the tab here called execute. So under execute, there are two things. You can compile or you can compile and run. Both are the same things. usually I will just go to compile and run, because if compile there is some error, it will still not run anyway. Okay, so you can just click on compile and run. Okay, so when you click on compile and run, you see a few things happening below here, and you see a pop-up. Okay, so what are these things that have happened? So if I sort of look at the compile log tab over here, okay, you will see that it is saying compiling, building makefile, processing makefile, and then it calls the GCC to do a compilation of the object file and linking up the object file with the other object files or whatever header files that there are, and then creating the final executable. Okay, and it also tells you the name of the executable, where it's located, the output file size, as well as the time it took. Okay, so of course the important thing that you want to see is that there are 0 errors. Sometimes you may get warnings, okay, but here there are no warnings and there are no errors. Okay, and what you would have noticed just now as well is that there was a pop-up, and this the pop-up. So in this, what do you see? The pop-up was a MS-DOS window opening up with a text that says, "Hi everyone." Okay, and this is what we had also put here in our printf statement. Okay, so you can see that this MS Windows console type of a C application is very easy to program and easy for you to see the output immediately, because whatever that you type in printf and later on in scanf, everything is done through a Windows console, and it is quite easy and straightforward, okay, compared to maybe a Windows application where there may be a lot of other code that you may have to deal with. Okay, so of course here they say exited after 0.19 seconds. Why? Because in this case we did not do anything else except a printf statement, so it executed very much immediately after printing out the hi everyone statement. Okay, so once you are done, of course you just press any key here, the DOS application window closes and you're back to your C program. So that's it. So you can see very clearly that it's a very easy and straightforward process. You write your code. Once you have done your code, you can go to execute, click on compile and run. And when you click on compile and run, it will go and process your makefile, okay, and call the GCC commands to link up and compile all your C files and link up all your object code and whatever other library functions that you may have. Okay, so these are all the .object files that you can see here, .o and so on. So this process of converting a .c file to object file and finally packaging the object file to an executable file, these are things that we will sort of review in the lecture notes. Okay, so not to be too worried about that. Okay, and finally, once you get the executable file, means you're good to go. Okay, and you can execute the testworld.exe. Okay, so before we end this video, just a quick look at the folder, the startup folder that we have. Okay, so you can see that this is the testworld.dev project that you created. Okay, this is the main.c file. Okay, and you can see this is the object file that was generated. So this is the intermediary file that is generated, okay, while you are in the compile process. This makefile is the file that is used to tell the compiler or give the compiler some instructions on how to go about compiling your code, where to place it in memory, and some other important stuff. Okay, but we're not going to go to that details. And finally, when everything is done, you have the executable file. Okay, so the good thing is once you have executable file, you don't actually need to go back to your DevC++ to run the same program again. I can just double click this testworld.exe and it will run. Okay, but for now you can see that it sort of opened up and then it closed again immediately. Why? Because it just did a printf without anything else, correct? So we need to sort of update our code a bit to make sure that when you execute the exe file, the MS-DOS window holds open until you manually go and close it. Okay, so we will cover that in subsequent lectures. Okay, so good. So I hope you got a good beginning and good start, okay, on how to use DevC++ for your C programming. Thank you.